Hey everyone, so we're going to continue our discussion about complex numbers, and we're actually going to start talking about how we can add and subtract complex numbers. Now remember, the term complex number is referring to a number that has a real and an imaginary part. So for example, it has to be written in the form a plus bi, as we saw in the last question from the last video. So for example, 5 plus 3i isn't a complex number since it has a real part, the 5, and an imaginary part, the 3i. 2 minus 2i is also a complex number. Now, just really quickly, recall that the square root of negative 1 is I, and I squared is negative 1. You do want to make sure that you remember this regularly. Now, when we have multiple complex numbers that we're either adding or subtracting, we're going to combine them the exact same way we do with polynomials, where we're going to add and subtract like terms. What that means is the terms that are real get combined, the terms that are imaginary get combined, until we have our final complex number. So we add and subtract the real terms, add and subtract the imaginary terms. So if we take those two examples that we had before, 5 plus 3i, and we add it to 2 minus 2i, we're going to add the real terms, which are the 5 and the 2, to get 5 plus 2. And then we add the imaginary terms, the 3i and the minus 2i. So this becomes 3 minus 2i. 5 plus 2 is 7. 3 minus 2 is 1. So I end up getting 7 plus I. And that's pretty much it. So here are the first two. Pause video, work itself, and we'll go over in a second. Alright, so we take our two terms and combine like terms. So the 7 and the 8 get combined together, and the 5 minus 3 get put together. 7 plus 8 is 15. 5 minus 3 is 2. So we get 15 plus 2i. For number 2, we're going to combine those two terms. So 6 plus 2i plus minus 8 minus 5i. Combine the 6 and the minus 8 gets us this. 2 minus 5 is the other term. 6 plus negative 8 is negative 2. And 2 plus negative 5 is negative 3. All right. Here in the next step, pause video, work itself, and we'll go over in a second. Alright, so here they're not exactly written in their complex forms. We have to actually simplify those radicals first. So the first term actually becomes 3 plus 8i, and the second term becomes 10 minus 5i. We're going to combine them together. So we do 3 minus 10 in the first bracket, 8 minus negative 5. We have to make sure that we have both of those negatives there. So we have 8 minus negative 5. 3 minus 10 is 7. And 8 minus negative 5 is 13. So we have negative 7 plus 13i. Over here, these aren't really complex numbers, but we can still simplify them the same way that we did before. So in the first term, well, for all of these, we get rid of the negatives underneath the radicals by putting an I in front. And then for any number that we can, we separate it into the biggest perfect square factor. So 27 is broken up as 3 times 9. 12 is broken up as 3 times 4. Simplifying this, the radical 9 becomes 3. So the second term becomes 3i rad 3. And over here, radical 4 is times 2 times the 3, which is 6. So this is what this all simplifies to. 2i rad 3 minus 3i rad 3 plus 6i rad 3. Combining all these, since they are like terms, they all have an I rad 3. We do 2 minus 3 plus 6, which gets us 5i rad 3. All right. And here are the last two. Pause video, work itself, and we'll go over in a second. All right. So first thing that we want to do, there is this I squared. So we kind of want to get rid of that. I squared if you recall, is -1. So this, when I actually clean it up, goes from 1 minus 3 times a -1, which just turns this minus into a positive. So I have this, then I take all the real numbers, the 5, the 7, the 1, and the 3, combine them together. So it's going to be 5 minus 7 plus 1 plus 3. And then here it's going to be all the imaginary numbers minus 2i minus minus 6i. When I put this in the calculator or add the coefficients, the numbers, we get 2 plus 4i. And then for number 6, the very last one, like always, we have to be careful with the wording. They said they are subtracting this from this, so this is actually the first term minus this. We do the same thing, minus 3 minus minus 8, and then 5i minus 2i gets us 5 plus 3i. And that's our final answer. And that's pretty much it. Like I said, it's identical to everything that we've done before, that we can only add, subtract terms that are like. We have to take all the real numbers, combine them, all the imaginary numbers, combine them. And if we don't have the numbers in pure complex form, there's still radical, there's exponents on the i's, we're going to have to clean it up as best as we can before we do that. We have to simplify first. If you have any other questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you later. Good luck and have a great day.